during their life, and stress is one of them. So my present study consists of two variables, which is stress and mental health. Mental health refers to cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being. Mental health can affect daily living, relationships, and physical health as it has a direct relation with the physical health. Impaired mental health leads to stress, and stress is subjective as it differs from person to person. It refers to the feeling of being overwhelmed or unable to cope with mental, physical, or emotional strain. So, the purpose of the present study is to examine the impact of stress on the employee's mental health. Stress has two parts. One is the things which causes stress, and other is the body's response to the stressors. And there are two types, we can say the good stress and the bad stress. Good stress could include the optimum amount of stress, like while going for an interview or going inside before going inside the examination hall. So these come under the good stress. And the bad could be like any death of close ones due to that it occurs. Sources of stress basically includes these factors: the personal, family, organization, cultural and society, and environment. Personal factor would be like whether the person is optimistic or pessimistic. It would be they would be having the entirely different approach towards the life. And family, whether it's the person shared a healthy bond with the siblings or the parents, and whether the family is also supportive or not supportive. Organization would include the work environment, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, the relationship he or she share with the co-workers. Culture and society he or she belongs to, and the environment where he or she lives, the surroundings, whether it's like very noisy, irritating, or the industrial areas, or the very living in a very peaceful nature content area. So type of stress: positive one, that includes the normal stress and may be intense but could be resolved. Tolerable stress, it's like long lasting, but can be mitigated through healthy relationships with the help of support. And toxic one is like intense and prolonged, and adversity without support. So personal stressors, they are divided into positive and negative. Positive would include the promotions, starting a new job, getting a bonus, going for a vacation, getting married, and learning new skills. And negative, it will include injury or severe illness, poor performance, conflict in interpersonal relationships, financial problem, sleep deprivation, loss of close ones, and self doubts. Workplace stress occur when there is an improper match between job and qualification of the employee. Like there is no match. The job is demanding something else, and person is qualified in something else, but the person is doing it somehow. So it leads to stress, excessive workload, unhealthy working environment and condition, change of management, multiple and unclear instructions by the top management. It completely confused the employee. No or less incentives giving to employees, no feedback and recognition at workplace, rigid rules, lack of job securities, and gender inequality. So the impact of stress leads to increase in absenteeism rate, performance deterioration, poor concentration, improper eating habits, disturbed sleep pattern, which may later on lead to the insomnia state, less social interaction, overreacting, arguing, and high irritation level, loss of self-confidence and self-esteem, involvement in activities like drinking, smoking, and drugs. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, and it indirectly influences our thoughts, feelings, and actions. So the impact of workplace on mental health of the employee, or we can say the poor mental health, is lack of recognition at work, inequity, poor leadership and communication, role conflict, excessive workload, lack of control at the workplace, poor interpersonal relationships, conflicting home and work demands, fatigue at work and monotonous tasks, inadequate and uncomfortable working conditions. And the other part of it is like the impact of employees' poor mental health on the workplace. So, mental health distress can adversely affect the actions of workers both on the job and off the job. So, it increases the risk of impairment in the workplace because they remain confused and not giving the proper attention whatever they are doing, and increase the absenteeism as they lose the interest. They don't feel like going to work. Negative impact on productivity and profits. There is due to lack of interest, they won't be giving their 100%. So automatically, it will lead to low productivity level and less profit. Increased healthcare costs related to mental health and illness, which becomes a burden for the organization and damage the organization's reputation in the long run. Some relevant studies, one of the conducted by BITC in 2020, which showed that women suffered more with the behavioral, psychological, or physical symptoms of mental health at some point in their life during work than men. And Woods had conducted another study like 1985 on married women, which showed again that with the less supportive partner or completely non-supportive partner, married women goes through more like poorer mental health. Intervention for reducing stress. As an employee, it's important to address true self, eat healthy, have a proper sleep cycle, participate in activities as it helps as a distraction or completely shift of focus, and social interaction is important. Taking a break is important in whatever job he or she is. Ask for help, self acceptance, acquire and polish skills, be aware of surroundings. As an organization, provide a safe and secure workplace, make employees feel valued, provide performance appraisal to the employees, give clear instructions, and lead workers during change so they don't remain confused what they have to do, what their duties are. Explicit instructions and proper guidance by authorities. Invest in training programs, modify policies and practices, pay employees on time, regular staff survey and resolve their issue, provide opportunities to workers. Proactive support is important. Encourage staff to report any discrimination or harassment. In conclusion, I would say that employees are a crucial asset for any organization. So it is critical and essential for an organization to protect, actively support, and prevent harm to employees' mental health. And secondly, they should provide support for employees with a mental illness for a safe and supportive workplace. Furthermore, gender inequality should be avoided as it directly affects the productivity of an individual as well as the organization. So, positive mental health is prerequisite for employees to realize their full potential, cope with the stresses of life, work productively, and make meaningful contribution to the communities, organizations, and country. Maintaining mental health is the responsibility of both employees and the employer. Thank you.
Are you finished?
Yes, so.
Okay. So if you would stop sharing the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So thank you, Sana, for this erudite presentation.
Thank you.
And certainly it is useful for all of us talking about getting to know about stress and what it does to us and how to reduce stress when it is proving to be difficult for us to take. So it is for the well-being of all of us. And I'm quite happy with the presentation. So we'll open up this space for questions which Sana could answer. So the
I
space is
have a
open.
question.
Yes,
Sana, of course, your topic really attracted me. And my question is that, yes, you have suggested ways of dealing with the mental issues and the stress created at the workplace. But as I have been a school teacher for many, many years, my understanding is that the seeds for stress are sown right in the school stage itself, where the competitive parents instill the same competitiveness in their children. And the general atmosphere, even in our education system as well as family system, is very much focused on competition. And so actually stress starts much before the workplace. So what are your suggestions around that?
Okay, thank you for the question, ma'am. I would say in this situation that if we would say even the school is a workplace for a student, so rather just pushing the student for doing a particular thing in which he or she is not interested, parents should be a little bit less more flexible to let the child do what he or she interested in. They should understand it with the fear he would be doing that thing, but he won't be enjoying that thing. So it's important, like on the part of parents, to understand that they should provide a happy and secure environment so that a kid could grow more in a healthy way, and in whatever they will be doing, then I'm sure that they will excel in that thing.
Excellent suggestion, ma'am, and good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
As per your presentation, there are two parties. One is employee, the other is employer. And in recent example which Kumud gave, the student is one party and the parents is the other. But in reality, there are not only two, there are maybe three or four, many parts. Let's take, for example, only student and the parents. बच्चों को समझाया जा सकता है, लेकिन पेरेंट्स को कौन समझाएगा? और आजकल उल्टा है, पेरेंट्स तो समझ आते हैं लेकिन बच्चे नहीं समझते. Okay, so there has to be some third party, could be advisor, could be counselor, could be somebody, could be. See, in fact, is also the joint family system is breaking with the advancement and all that, people moving to cities and from villages. They are not no longer in the joint family. Joint family, the grandparents used to be one such, now that support system is also missing. Now, in my experience, this certain drivers as per transactional analysis theory of transactional analysis, right from beginning, childhood, there are certain demands by the parents, some expectation. For example, some parents will say, be perfect. It's a driver as per transactional analysis. Second thing could be compete. सबको तुम्हें first आना है. Between two sisters, it could be between brother and sister, it could be. And they may say, बड़ा वाला है, तो ठीक है, अच्छा है, you also उसके तरह बना. Third could be so many demands, and if we have some reference to the transactional analysis theory, maybe something can be understood. Why I'm quoting this is because I used to teach a paper on organization development plus stress management through transaction analysis in IMT Ghaziabad. And I'm not an expert on stress management, etc. I'm only expert so-called in transaction analysis. So the HOD invited me, they said, do this paper. I said, I will not be able to do it because I'm not stressed. So they said that part will take care of somebody else and you talk about it. So during that period, I studied a lot. And one last thing I will say, and then I'll close, is as per transactional analysis theory, everything, the script of the life is written by a child by the time he is 8 or she is 8 years old. In Indian condition, it could be 12, 13 years. So all children have written their script, उनको क्या बनना है और लाइफ को कैसे जीना है. तो स्क्रिप्ट को दोबारा चेंज करने के लिए they have to revisit, and then maybe part of the stress can be managed. This is my suggestion.
So nowadays, all schools, mostly schools, I would not say that all schools have the counselor thing as well. That and those counselors help to fill the gap between the parents and the
I agree and I disagree. There are counselors, but they are actually teaching classes. They are not doing counseling. Of course, things are now changing. Earlier on,
yeah.
there used to be social stigma of going to a counselor or an expert, but now things are changing. You're right.
Or to solve that, if not going for the school thing, but parents or the child can go to the proper counselor and in a proper setup, and there are like the family therapies given, or to have a clear conversation between the parents and the child. Counselor could fill that gap. They can bring the clarity between both the parties.
Yes. I
In
agree.
India, I think it will
The
take
issue is not only parents and the children. There are other stakeholders, the school management, which just like there's so much of commercialization, like any other product, the results are advertised. And the student enrollment is based on the board results or the admissions to IITs and medical colleges. So you see, the whole system feeds into this competitiveness. We have coaching centers. And right these days, of course, you are a young girl, you know it, that in our times, taking a tuition was considered something, below dignity. But now, right, starting from KG, there are tuitions. We have quota, which is just like a factory for IITians. And the parents send their children after 10th or then target IIT, starting from, which used to start from 11, and now it starts from class 6.
Yeah.
So you see, the thing is that the entire thing, there is commercialization, there is school is run like an industry, like a business. No, I have never seen a school advertising that our children are calm. Our children are, the competitiveness has been de-emphasized. And they are healthier, like Carl Rogers says. They are persons. They are learning how to learn and not just, collecting information. But these things are not there. So anyway, what you are doing is a great work. But I'm just saying that probably, we have to step back and see the root of this whole tree that has grown. And see it is in our attitude, in commercialization, like Irfan said, breaking of joint families. Then tum kya banoge, main kya banungi. The parents come with a complete charter of their children that this is what they will do. Then I will send them to US. I remember one of the parents came to me in parent-teacher meeting. The girl was in class 7 and he told me that this is what I want, and he narrated the whole thing like up to that level. And so many parents used to come with all this. And I have lost some precious lives of young children who were toppers in their schools, but when they reach the professional colleges, where the competition is even more accentuated because all the toppers from various schools are there. Especially in medical colleges, there's a large number of suicides after first profession. Because in the first prof, many students fail in anatomy and physiology. And because they are not there, their identity is only through, scoring marks. There is identity crisis for them and they commit suicide. Or they slip into depression.
Can I have a question, please?
Or
Yeah, Shayad.
Okay,
Thank you, Kumud, for bringing in so
Thank
many
you.
perspectives.
Before Akhtar, I want to say something.
okay, please.
Fatima, Sana, sorry. Sana, we are not telling you that what you are doing is not correct.
No,
I
it's
think what we are adding something, you know,
Yes.
maybe by our lifelong experiences and whatnot, and whatever way we have been educated or we have got education. One thing which I appreciate, and that's why I stopped Akshay from coming in, was that let me agree and appreciate the kind of work you are doing by making people aware that this stress नाम का जो कीड़ा है, ये इतना आसान नहीं है, normal नहीं है. We have to be careful about it. So I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
And you are quite young at a young age. You are doing this, which is quite a bit. So maybe we are here to add something to your whatever you have knowledge. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Shayad.
Very good, Kripal, for words of encouragement. That's quite good. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Sana, you had a long list of these variables: person, family, work, environment, stress. Have you collected any data?
So during the time of COVID, it was a bit difficult for me to collect it like directly from the people, but I have, this work is like completely theoretical based on earlier work and collected data collection,
Okay.
media analysis through.
If it is theoretical, what's your theory about it?
Regarding this
Yes.
sources.
There's a list of, I can see the list of variables, but I can't see the theory.
So there are only two variables, and the rest of the things were just the sources of stress.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure whether I heard it correctly. Are you a psychiatrist?
No, sir, I'm a doctoral scholar.
You are?
Doctoral scholar, the PhD scholar.
Oh, PhD scholar. Okay. So, okay. I guess theory part perhaps would have to be worked on. And I thought you are a psychiatrist, then I could ask for more questions. Like, for example, maybe you can still talk about it. The role of medication and therapy. What would you suggest in terms of dealing with stress?
Okay.
One can go to a psychiatrist or one can go to a therapist.
Okay. So basically, they both work together or combinedly, we could say. But most of the people going through stress go for the therapies as well as they are having their medications also going on with the therapies. But I would suggest it's better to avoid medicines and go for therapy and session, because when you go and talk about whatever is in your heart, you pour it out, you will feel relaxed. If there are many people who don't have good friends or family, supportive family, who lend their ears to listen them or give them time, but if you don't have those options, go to a counselor, because the counselor will be non-judgmental. They are not going to draw any conclusion about from where you are coming, what kind of family you have, etc. So you will be free from the kind of fear of judgment.
Okay. So are you doing any labs with ISAPs, joining any labs?
No.
No,
I
okay.
have, no.
Okay, maybe that's another aspect of your work you can look at. Yeah, please. Thank you.
Jagruti,
Thank
you
you,
want to
sir.
ask something?
Akhtar,
Yes.
you want to suggest that she should attend the lab. Maybe that is also stress.
Well, I'm not saying should, but she can consider.
It is also stress reliever. Initial 2 days, maybe stress generator.
Stressful, right?
I think
After that
Jagruti
it
is waiting to
Yeah.
ask something. Let us
Yeah.
give her the time. Yeah, Jagruti.
I didn't use the word should, but yes, consideration definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, Sana. I'm Jagruti.
Hello.
I run a non-profit where we work with children and young adults from underserved backgrounds, and I work on their social emotional development, so that they can have a more centered way of knowing themselves. Apart from that, I'm also in a couple of other spaces. So I came to the conversation, unfortunately, a little late and didn't completely hear your presentation in the beginning, but I want to offer my appreciation for what you're naming as a need for society and organizations. What I'd be curious about is what is your dream in the next 3 years? How would you like to take this forward? And in organizations, what would be something that you would say we could do to help the leaders of the organization see the importance of bringing this in for their employees?
Okay, so I would say for the leaders, while appointing any job to the employee, they should consider that there should be proper match between the job and the employee's CV, we could say. Whatever the ability he had or whatever course he was doing, because when there is an improper match between both, it leads to a lot of trouble to the employee and the organization as well. And secondly, the break is important. The human is not a robot. They do need a mental break and the physical break as well. Two things. And for the employee, I would say that they should be honest for whatever work they are doing in the organization, and put their sincere efforts in that.
Okay, so you have right now over here a receptive, sensitive audience this is all our work. All of us are, I would assume, for this. Imagine if this was a group of people who are not receptive. What might you say to them to get a buy-in? And please take this question not as somebody grilling you, but I'm curious to know more, so I'm trying to bring it out from you.
Okay. First of all, I would try to create a healthy bond with my group, so that whatever I would say, it's easy for them to understand, and I would be able to convey in a better way to them, and to listen their side also, and then assigning the work accordingly.
Okay, thank you. I think somebody else, Gurinder, wants to ask a question.
Gurinder, you want to ask?
Haji. Sana, you just mentioned healthy relationship with the group. So what are the steps that can encourage that healthy relationship with the group?
Okay, having a communication, at least try to know their worker or the employees working in the organization or in the group. Try to have group discussions to give them ideas, or try to bring ideas from them, and having a sometimes inviting
Sorry to interrupt. Take this group as your take us your employees, and you are the employer. So what communication will you have with us to actually make sure it is healthy, it is communicative, it is real?
Okay, for example, I would there could be a situation where I would I'm telling about a certain project, that we have this project, and we will be working for upcoming 3 months on this thing. So I will ask the employees what all suggestion they would like to give it to me, or what they want to add in that particular topic, the project's limitations, what could be the limitation of if we are doing this, putting this strategy, and if it won't work, and then having a backup plans, involving the employees in the task, make them give them a bit value, because they are not a robot, they are humans. So it's important to maintain the respect and to understand their perspective also, their point of view also. And with
So,
the,
so basically, you're saying you're making us comfortable, right?
yeah, first it's important, then only rest of the things could work.
Thank you.
One else.
Sana, I
Are you
have a-
done, Gurinder? Yeah,
Sana?
Anupama.
Yeah, Sana, I have a question for you. And correct me if I am wrong. I have a feeling that we give too much of responsibility of the stress to the management, to the bosses. However, especially in the competitive corporate world, where everybody wants to reach top, the it's like a pyramid. Not everybody can reach the top. So that competition becomes so cruel that people have to step on each other's shoulders and heads to move on. So is it really the management only, or is it the society and self as well?
Okay, thank you for the question, ma'am. Here I would say, I said in my PPT, I have shown both the sides, the employee and the employer. As an employee, of course, whenever you are joining any organization, you want to achieve something or anything, if not just the organization. In being a human, also you want to grow in life. So that won't. It would be bad, as you said, that like crushing other and going up. But if you have really have an ability and you are being recognized by an organization for your abilities, then there is nothing wrong to go and achieve things. But if the organization is giving growth to that person who doesn't have the ability or who is not fulfilling those criteria, then I could say that they are biased and partial. I hope are you there?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Anybody else?
What
Annie.
Anupama
Yeah.
ma'am just, sorry, please go ahead, sir. Can I share some thoughts here? This is Annie.
Yes, Annie. Yeah,
Thank you
Annie.
so much. Thank you. So I think what Anupama shared is something that is in reality happening in the business world today. You know, this has become like a catch-22 situation where it is a matter of survival versus a well-being. And we can put it on the COVID, we can put it on the overall the way the system functions, you know, where profit comes first. And the essence of a business setup has always been currently it's been more of profit than people. While the very essence why industry and factories were set up is to give jobs to people. Those were the times when CSR was the essence behind giving opportunities and jobs to people for their well-being and all. But today, in the current times that we are all living in, especially COVID has taught us so much that going minimalistic, having lesser desires for material things and all. Here managers are also at the end of the day employees, and they also get the pressure from their top management for the business growth and the profit, and the top management is also getting a pressure from, say, for example, maybe the board or the CEO, and the CEO is also under tremendous pressure. So the pressure of deliverables, the pressure of profit is top to bottom. So the point here is, where do we draw the balance? And I perhaps I agree with many of you here. I'm not sure if some of you have already shared this, but maybe there is no right answer right now. We're all finding and looking for the best way to balance this profit versus mental well-being.
So
Yeah, but it's a very interesting topic, and thank you, Sana.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Karo, may I?
Kirpal. Yeah, please.
One suggestion, Sana, in organization employee management, and there can be a concept of mentoring. Mentors could be of some help. The employee could go to a mentor or a buddy or person who is senior but not his direct supervisor, where he can open his heart. This could also be one way to relieve his stress.
Can I just add one more thing? So I heard you say that you're doing PhD, is it?
Yes, so
In which field? Is it psychology, sociology?
psychology.
Psychology. So when you do PhD, I think what people look for in PhD is a theory-based research. So, and data-based research, quantitative, qualitative, but data.
Yeah.
So I hope that you are paying attention to that and also looking at a suitable theory. Otherwise, it could be just a list of variables, like putting a fishing net, and then you get a lot of things, but we have to see what is important and what is not important. And for that, I think PhD scholars would need a theory. Have you thought about it?
Yes, so my work is on cancer patients. So before COVID, I have collected the data from the cancer patients.
I'm interested in the theory.
Okay.
What
So,
theory do you have?
So that topic is different, and I'm here presenting a different topic. So that work is entirely different from this work.
So you don't have a theory at the moment for this?
So I do have, but do you want to know about my PhD work or regarding this?
So, because yeah, any presentation would have a theory.
Yes, so. Yeah. So, sir, basically the main purpose of the study was to find out the impact of the stress on mental health of the employee. So the theories regarding is this, how the stress have leads to the poor mental health or the improved, or the vice versa, because poor mental health could also lead to more and more amount of stress.
See, when Kripal was talking about, he talked about a theory from transactional analysis. So he gave a theory-based explanation of how the stress is possible or how it occurs. So similarly, in your case, I hope you would consider it in your PhD.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Does anybody else want to ask something, suggest something, say something?
I just want to thank you, Sana, for having this kind of inclination to devote your time and energies for something which is so widespread and really ailing all of us. And I'm sure more work on this will make everybody more aware, at least. And in a way, help.
We have a
Thank you so much.
There is a Vidyut wanting to ask something.
Hello, Sana. My name is Vidyut. I wanted to ask about the possibility to create policies or organizational structures that support in such cases. For example, we've seen social injustice and we've got affirmative action. We saw workplace harassment, and now we have guidelines to form committees and organizations about it. Is there potential for mental health to become an important enough issue that organizations are obliged to offer I don't know, mental health support, social support, or counselor they can speak with, or find ways for organizations to support people who may be undergoing undue stress, if this is possible? And what would it look like? What would it have to do to meet such ends, to meet ends of employees who are stressed, to give them relief?
Okay. Okay, ma'am, then if there is a counselor or as Skripal sir has said, the mentor, it would be easy for the organization to understand the other end, what might be the person is going through something or not able to convey to the top managers. So there, if there is a bridge to fill the bridge, when there is a middle person involved there, then it would be easy and it would be in less time the problem would be resolved rather than the other end is struggling for a long time. It will help them to get rid of that issue sooner and to focus on work because for an organization, they just completely look for the profit thing and the productivity.
Yeah, I was speaking more from a policy perspective. For example, things like affirmative action or committees to resolve issues of sexual harassment at the workplace. For example, these are not things organizations did voluntarily out of the good in their heart.
Yeah.
These were things that were passed as laws, as guidelines, and well, organizations had to comply, which is how it happened. So is it, we have a lot of mental health professionals organizing even on social media these days. You see there's a lot of awareness. There's, people are really speaking up this talk about stress among doctors. There's, suicides because of workplace pressure. Is it possible to organize? Would it make sense to organize such people into a movement that, perhaps advocates for some kind of, I don't know, responsibility with the organization, a mental responsibility. You're not just done by giving them a salary, but you actually have to, help them survive the place you've created, so to say.
A great thought, Vidyut, but I don't know whether this comes under this scope of this presentation. It's certainly a great thought to have a policy in place, as you are saying.
See, there used to be a lot of stress because of ragging. There is a government policy now. The principals of colleges have to ensure there should be no ragging. And both the student and the guardian, they have to furnish an oath before the oath commissioner that I will not indulge into. Some policy government guideline is there. And like we have in ISEBS, the ethics framework and POSH, etc. So it can be thought of, but you're right, Kirot. It is a wider issue and bigger issue.
That's exactly.
Well, I guess it could be part. It is really a part of it. Thinking about employee assistance programs, counseling provided by the organizations themselves, and also a kind of action that might be needed on the part of the employees themselves through unions, if they have.
Sure.
In a wider sense, yes, but for PhD, no.
Government policy, I don't know if Sana would be able to get into that in this presentation. That's what
I'd like to add,
not the formation of it, but perhaps the recommendations. What could it look like? What could something that worked well in such a situation, what would it look like? What would it do?
I think that would be interesting. Yeah, that would be
maybe
interesting.
You could look at it, Sana, sometime.
Okay.
Kirot, this is a PhD. You can do many things.
I'm sure. There is Shubhashri, I think, waiting to ask something.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that you're following the Tata model. They have something called a Grievance Cell, which is actually part of the joint consultative committee. And the committee itself is formed by employees. And they choose, a person to head the committee. And they have a monthly kind of a meeting where employees could bring in the grievances without giving their names, and the committee resolves them. So the Tata model, in our own pharma company followed it to a large extent we could reduce the, stress and the small differences, the assumptions, etc., which the employees had. Of course, it said that accepting salary, etc., anything else could be discussed and brought in as a grievance. So I just wanted to add that it does exist in the Tata.
I think that's quite interesting as a kind of a benchmark or a best practice kind of case studies.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sana. Very, very
Thank you
interesting.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So anybody about the presentation itself?
Will this presentation be shared with us later?
The presentation itself may not get shared, but her paper will get shared in the compendium for all
Great.
registered participants. It will be
Great.
uploaded
Wonderful.
on our website.
That sounds good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I think, Sana, you're just in the right direction. This is the need of the hour, and God knows for how long. But you're absolutely in the right career path.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome.
So I think questions are drying up. It's what I'm hearing now are more suggestions for Sana. You want to say something, Kirpal?
No.
Acha.
You asked me about the presentation was good. Bit theoretical. I would have looked for more examples. Like this Tata's example is a good example. And maybe Sana can collect some examples of various types and organizations doing. Yeah.
Okay.
So if there are no questions on the presentation itself now, we could end it here.
Sana,
Unless somebody has a desperate
it was
question.
not too personal. Which part of the country you are from?
I'm from
Aligarh.
Aligarh.
From?
Aligarh. It's near Delhi.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Thank you so much.
She's from Aligarh Muslim University, as I said in the introduction.
I missed out. My fault.
All the best for your doctorate.
Thank you,
Sana.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So when can we call you
All
Dr.
the
Sana
best.
Fatima?
Inshallah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
So thank you very much. Thank you. I think it has brought up a lot of questions and suggestions and emotions in the people who have attended. And I see people who are very wishing you very well. Several people have wished you well here. And I personally certainly do wish you well, that you get your PhD, of course, but also get ahead in the work that you are doing. That I think is a real need today in this time of stress. There are so many things. There is COVID, there is all kinds of disturbances, civil disturbances. And as you said, in the family also, there is so much. So thank you very much for this presentation. And we'll end it here. Okay.